and we were told that we were being charged with, selling goods and services, begging and all this other stuff. Basically, just
begging.
Basically, just selling goods and begging on Capitol lawn.
Wow. So they charge you with like begging? What you weren't begging? How did they charge you with begging?
It's all sort of the same thing. It's all sort of the same thing.
Oh, I see.
It's like a big lump thing.
Okay.
And so we went in there and found out that we were charged with that, and that the penalty for that was a maximum of 6 months
in jail.
And actually, it's so ridiculous because on our paperwork, it literally said like the United States of America versus Catherine Dills, or the United States of America versus Will Duffield. I mean, like, they try to make it so intimidating.
So are these would be like the United States Police because it's Capitol grounds, or what? How does that work?
Well, it's District of Columbia, so there's no state and there's no county. Oh. So it's...
So we were in the federal court is basically what
federal
what
court
it was.
for selling lemonade.
But there's only a federal court in D.C. That's the point. You know?
Oh dear.
You are in federal court if you do it in D.C. Yeah.
Okay, so you find out that you're facing up to 6 months in jail for this, and did they offer you a plea deal, or did they try to give you a fine, or how did that work?
Oh yeah. Basically, what happened was you go in for your initial court date, and then they give you conditions of release, so that they don't have to hold you in jail until your next court appearance. They make you sign this paper with like these certain conditions, and our conditions were we were banned from the U.S. Capitol.
Okay. And
then our second condition was, seriously, we had to submit to a urine sample, and if anything was found in our system, we would have to go to regular drug testing until our next court date.
Okay, so you haven't been convicted of any crime whatsoever, and all of a sudden they're demanding a urine sample to check for what, illegal lemonade, or what are they looking for?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was just protocol. Like, they act like it's just normal to ask people for their urine.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to do that, I don't think.
So, okay,
you don't have to do that.
No,
you would not be forced to do that, I wouldn't think.
We said that we objected. So right when we heard our conditions of release, we objected.
Okay.
And the judge started screaming at us, and told us to go talk to our lawyers. And so we went and we talked to our lawyers, and they were telling us, look, you could face a contempt of court charge if you don't sign this. If you don't sign this release form and comply with it, contempt of court is an additional 6 months in jail. If you would just pee in the cup, you're going to be fine.
How can you face a contempt of court
How is
charge?
that not forcing you to give evidence against yourself for something that you didn't do?
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's a blatant
What were the lawyers you provided with? When you asked them that, what did the lawyers say when you provided them with that? When you said that,
were these? I'm sorry. Were these like public defenders or?
Yeah, these were public defenders.
Yeah,
so basically, I kid you not, this is what happened. We told the lawyers, we said, we don't care what is going to happen. We're not going to pee in a cup. You're going to have to kill us first.
Good for you.
Like, we literally don't care. You'll have to pull the urine from our cold dead bladder.
Good for you.
So basically,
so they backed down.
No.
No.
No. This is what happened. We went back into the courtroom, and then the lawyers told the judge, our clients, they object to the ban against the Capitol because it's a violation of their First Amendment right, and then he said that we objected to the urine sample because it was a violation of our Fourth Amendment right, and then also something I realized later was that it's also a violation of our Fifth Amendment right,
self-incriminating yourself. Yeah, exactly.
You are literally incriminating yourself, right. And then not only that, a person is supposed to be innocent
until proven guilty,
or if proven guilty,
right.
Unless they're supposed to be innocent unless they're proven guilty, right. And we hadn't been convicted of any crime.
It's completely blatant violation of all types of rights. I mean, so many rights are being violated here, and you haven't been convicted of any crime. Yeah. And even the worst they can do is convict you of selling lemonade.
I hope our listeners are listening to what she's talking about, because it's a lot more serious than the lemonade stand thing. I mean, they're just running roughshod over the Constitution.
Hey, Catherine,
Yes.
Would you be able to hang on with us over the commercial break? I just got a few more questions for you, but we got to cut the break.
Okay, fine.
Okay, great. It's Free Radical Radio on the Big 810 AM WEUS. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about selling lemonade without a permit. 407-774-0810. Have you or someone you know witnessed or been a victim of police misconduct or abuse? The vast majority of police abuse in Orlando goes unreported. Most victims feel that the police will never investigate themselves and that reporting abuse is a waste of time. Many victims are afraid of becoming a target if they complain. OrlandoCopWatch.com wants to help. We investigate and report on cases of police abuse in Central Florida, bringing public attention to the problem. We conduct surveillance of specific areas and specific officers that have repeated incidents of abuse. We can also refer you to attorneys, private investigators, and other professionals who can help get you justice. If you stay silent, we can't help. If you see something, say something. OrlandoCopWatch.com.
Hello, Whitcomb.
The Big 810 Real Talk Radio.
Hello, welcome back. It's Free Radical Radio on the Big 810 AM WEUS Orlando. Give us a call, 407-774-0810. We have Catherine on the line, who was arrested recently in Washington, D.C. for standing up for your rights. You know, for your rights, for children's rights to sell lemonade and have lemonade stands, for everyone's rights to live like a decent human being without having the police state, just ram down your throat with SWAT teams for not having permits. It's ridiculous. Thank you so much, Catherine, for joining us, and especially thank you for standing up for our rights.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure.
So we're going back. We're here. You're in court. You haven't been found guilty of anything. This is, I guess, your first appearance. They demand that you don't go to the Capitol anymore. They demand urine samples from everybody as a condition of your release, so that you can not be held in jail until your next court date. And you guys objected. You said this is a violation of our First Amendment rights, of our Fourth Amendment rights, of our Fifth Amendment rights. And so, how did the judge then respond?
Okay, then the government prosecutor, he basically said, I think his exact words were, well, he basically mumbled a few things, and then he was like, and given the circumstances, I think that these constitutional concerns aren't really an issue.
Given the circumstance, what circumstances?
I don't know. Like as though we didn't know what we were talking about. Like the Fourth Amendment, our right to privacy. It really doesn't mean that. We're just confused. We must be stupid or something.
It's one thing, and I disagree with people that argue this, but it's one thing for people to argue that potential terrorists in Guantanamo Bay, they shouldn't have all the rights. It's one thing for people to argue that. It's something completely different for you to argue that you don't deserve your constitutional rights because clearly you were selling lemonade on the Capitol grounds. It's outrageous. Right. So how did the judge then? What did the judge say after all this?
She was like, "Oh yeah, you're right," and then was like, I totally, overrule your objections, and we were like, and then we were confused. We were like, no, okay. So then our lawyers turned around and we were like, no, I don't think you understand. We actually don't. We're not going to comply with this.
Right. And they were prepared for that.
And then, so basically, they handed us our papers that we were supposed to sign, our conditions of release, and where all of our signatures were supposed to be, instead of having our name written on there, it said refused.
Right. Okay.
And instead of going to the drug testing right after we got out of pretrial services, we walked out of the courthouse.
Good for you. And then was that, could they put a warrant out for your arrest at that point, or what?
No.
You called her bluffed.
Right.
We didn't
Well
know.
done.
Yeah,
well done. I'm very proud of you. That is really well done, Catherine.
We had no idea what was going to happen. But yeah, basically they were just trying to strong-arm us and threaten us,
right?
And, hoping that we'd comply. Because, just think of how much money they make from all the people that had to go through these stupid drug treatment classes.
Right.
That's exactly what the mafia does to people. The mafia is all based on intimidating people and getting them to agree with what they want them to do.
Yeah, and
I know, like we're going to put you in jail for 6 months. And blah,
right,
blah, blah.
right.
Like,
you think about this. I mean, what would have happened? Let's say you complied with the drug test and they found some marijuana in somebody's system. I mean, would they then not release you? Would they then make you stay in jail until your next court date? I mean, how do
they would make you pay for a very expensive drug treatment.
It's outrageous. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's basically like you have to have your rights violated if you even want to go through the court system these days.
Exactly.
But the moral of the story is you won by calling their bluff.
Well, we haven't won yet. Now, so you left, you just basically ignored their conditions for release. You guys all left, and then you had another court date. What happened there?
Okay, then we had our next court date, and this is not what we were expecting to happen whatsoever. Okay, in between our last court date and the court date that we had, we found a lawyer, and we had talked to several lawyers. We had even found cases where they had found, courts demanding your analysis to be completely unconstitutional. We had one from like 96 and one a bit more recent one where like this exact same thing happened that happened to us, and it was ruled unconstitutional. So I mean, we even had like precedents that we could show them,
right?
To say that we're obviously stating very clear, basic things. And so anyway, so we found a lawyer, and basically every lawyer that we talked to said that there were so many different things that could happen. I mean, basically we could go into court. They could not even mention the contempt of court charge and just continue with the proceeding for the vending without a permit.
Right.
They could hold a hearing right then and there and keep us in jail until the next hearing. They could hold us in jail until they realize that we're not going to comply, or they could, I don't know. There were even a couple others.
Any number of things, right?
Yeah, any number of things, but honestly, none of the lawyers that we talked to even mentioned that they could drop our charges at the status hearing.
Right, and so that's what they essentially brought you in there and just dropped the charges at this time.
They had an absurd position. They didn't want to make they wouldn't look like idiots.
Well, because here's the thing. I mean, this is an event that got so much attention, got so many, I don't know, probably is on the order of 1 million YouTube hits on the videos and all types of attention, spurred a nationwide Lemonade Freedom Day movement. I mean, those of us that are sort of ingrained in the liberty community, I mean, everybody knows about this. Everybody's been preaching about this. It's all over Facebook. It's going crazy, and I don't think they want to deal with the ramifications for prosecuting something that's so extremely stupid, and then they just dropped it. And that's the whole point and the whole beauty of civil disobedience. It's challenging their stupid laws and making them either throw you in jail or drop it. And I mean, it's really pushing their hand to show just what they're doing. So I applaud you, Catherine. I think it's great. Like I said, I think it's one of the greatest acts of civil disobedience in recent history, and I hope you guys keep it up and do some more great stuff up there. Now, are you from D.C.? Are you in New Hampshire, or are you in D.C.?
I'm currently in Washington, D.C. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. All right, because I think Meg and I'm not sure Will, but some people from New Hampshire I was reading, so I wasn't quite sure where everybody was from.
Right.
Well,
right.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, that's about it. Just thank you for having me on here.
Thank you. Yep. It's our honor, and thank you for your heroism.
Very impressive.
Very brave. Very impressive. You guys are my heroes. Thanks so much.
You beat the state.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.